Started. Hi everybody, it's Joanna with Project Broadcast, and today is kind of this really cool opportunity. We're sitting down with Sonny. Well, I'm sitting down with him virtually because I was, of course, trolling our Project Broadcast groups, and I saw somebody post about basically that they had this really unique understanding and grip on importing contacts into Project Broadcast, and all of us know that this is a friction point. I mean, if you've been a virtual assistant, if you've imported your contacts ever, it can be kind of not scary, but there can be some analysis paralysis there because like you've got 500 contacts and you want to tag them a certain way. And so a lot of people can get super overwhelmed pretty quickly. And I saw this post about somebody who had it down to a science and who was helping people. And I knew I had to bring Sonny on here and kind of give out some of the value that he has created, you know, why he even knows about this stuff. And then to talk about how he's helping people. So, Sonny, go ahead and take it away. Please tell everybody about yourself and what you do.
All right. Well, my name is Sonny Hydes. I am career-wise, I'm an institutional analyst for Jefferson Community and Technical College in Louisville, Kentucky. So I am the guy at the college that handles all the data, all the numbers of looking at graduation rates, retention rates. Anytime numbers are needed for grants, I'm the one that provides those numbers. All
Wow.
that to say, I spend a lot of time in Excel.
So that's why you're so comfortable is what you're saying.
I wake up in the morning in Excel and I go to bed in Excel.
Oh my gosh.
I even teach a beginning, intermediate, and advanced Excel courses for the college.
We need that. We should add that to our courses and our web training. Here are your like advanced, intermediate, and beginning Project Broadcast Excel courses.
Right, right. For
Because
sure.
all I learned it on YouTube. I Google it, and to have somebody who can actually sit there and help you is, I think, a really big deal.
Yeah.
Oh, my husband has his master's from Louisville, so
really,
he walks around and does the L sign and.
It's two bangers though, not just
one.
one.
See, I don't know. I didn't go to school there. Yes, he is a huge fan. All right, so let's talk really quick. Let's dive right in and let's talk through, the step-by-step process that you went through that led you to actually looking at CSVs and importing them into Project Broadcast, because it is kind of a big leap to go from being this amazing Excel guru, for a school, and then suddenly having the availability to help people in Project Broadcast.
Yeah. Okay, well, really the way it all happened, my wife, she's a national vice president with Arbonne, which is a network marketing company. Believe she's been using Project Broadcast for about a year. Just downloading her client base from Arbonne's website and then uploading them to Project Broadcast. So she's been doing this for about a year. I knew nothing about it. And then one day I'm just kind of looking over her shoulder as she's working on it. And I'm watching her, and she's got, these thousands of lines of records in this CSV. And, she's trying to create her tags. And I'm watching her, and she's just manually, going to this person, typing in the tag, whatever. I don't remember what the tags were, but, typing in the tag for that record. She may be able to clump, 5 or 10 together.
That was it.
And that was it. And I was just like, Melissa, how long have you been working on that? And she's like, probably three or more hours, over the course of a few days. And I was like, I think I have a few shortcuts that could help you out.
Help you out.
She's like, well,
are you sure?
She had handed me the laptop, and it was taking her several hours. Took me an hour max.
An hour max. insane.
Just to get everything she wanted in there. She turned to me and she goes, I know a lot of ladies who need your help.
Yeah, and that, I mean, think about the amount of time people get back. So if, say it took her 3 hours to do it and you got it down to an hour, one, that gave her, 2 hours if she had done it herself with your help, 2 hours to do anything, whether it was de-stress, be creative towards her business. And even if you provide that service for people, that's 3 hours of their time back, which we all
Right.
know that's a lot. Because
Yeah.
she could have been doing so much other stuff with that 3 hours. She could have been mentoring somebody. She could have been reaching out. She could have been doing brand awareness. So one, I mean, it's great that you so thoughtfully helped her because you're her husband. And we all know that's kind of how Jake Dempsey and Brian, our CEO and co-founder, created Project Broadcast. So it must be this thing about husbands wanting to help their wives. I think that's
Right.
a good trend to be on. Okay,
Right.
so that's awesome. I'm sure that really helped out. And when you started to go through that CSV,
Yeah.
what kind of friction points did you see as far as, hey, I can help with this? Because like you said, this takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
So what friction points or pain points does this service that you're helping with address?
Well, I think with what Project Broadcast offers,
Mm-hmm.
so many different groups or companies or organizations, everyone is going to be doing things differently.
Yeah.
Everyone, and even within, I have to speak through my wife's experience in Arbonne. I can't really go
Yeah.
into others, but even within the Arbonne world, everyone's communicating in a different way or to a different group of people. So there's you can't have something set up that's fully automatic.
Right.
Because everything has to be customized to a point.
Yeah, different ranks. People are going to need different tags. They're going to be focusing on different people even.
Yes.
Yeah.
Different people and different people at different times of the month.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Or week, however you do it. So because of that, there's just a limitation on how automated this process can be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I saw that because of that, you do have to do a significant amount of the Excel or CSV work manually.
Yes.
And and for a lot of people, like, I probably get kind of made fun of because Excel is where I go to relax.
Right. It's your vibe though. Like, and I don't think people would ever, well, they don't need to make fun of you because our boss calls himself the chief nerd. So you fit
Yeah.
in with us perfectly.
Yeah.
Like, don't ever feel bad about it. And I think it's amazing, especially when you're dealing with hundreds of contacts.
Yeah.
Even that person that comes straight out the gate and they've got like 500 contacts. I mean, that's overwhelming.
Yeah.
That's significantly overwhelming in my opinion.
Yeah. I kind of explain it as I'm not a musician. I don't play the piano or the guitar, but from what I've heard and watching these people, they always talk about the muscle memory.
Mm-hmm.
You see those notes and your fingers just go to the right place.
Right.
Like,
and that's you in Excel.
That's me in Excel. Whereas someone has to look for the function keys or look for where the formula menu might be.
Not you.
That's muscle memory for me.
That's so cool. Okay, well, who do you think would benefit most from this service?
Well, I think there's really two different people groups.
Okay.
First, there's the ones that they don't know the ins and outs of Excel. It's
right.
You hear the word computer language.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I get that.
I think computer language. Okay, it's a different language.
It is. Don't get me started on our dev team.
Some are easier to learn than others, but like there is this learning curve that has to take place.
Yeah.
For you to yes, it's written in English, but at the same time, the things that make it efficient are the formulas and the functions in the background. And for the
Right.
most part, those aren't English.
Right.
They are another language.
Oh.
So a lot of people, they don't have the time
Mm-hmm.
to spend to learn how to be efficient in it.
Yeah.
Especially as as you mentioned earlier, just like you'll that 3 hours, they could be very, I don't consider myself very creative.
Right.
I'm not a wordsmith, that's my wife.
Mhm. Yep.
And what she could do in 3 hours, uh, on that side of things,
Hmm.
is just that's unbelievable to me. As
Yeah.
much as what I do in Excel to her.
Then you guys balance each other out really well at that. That's
Exactly, we do.
awesome.
Why not spend your time where you can excel?
Oh, perfect.
And for me to excel, it's in Excel.
It
For her,
is.
it's in Sunday.
That is your world. And I think it's awesome because you're right. Even when we talk about language and project broadcast, campaigns, keywords, automations, integration, things like that,
Yeah.
it can overwhelm people. So if somebody hasn't used Excel before, or didn't go through school like I didn't, have a little bit of Excel background, then they look at the formulas and it just goes right over their head. Or even getting into numbers, because so many people are on Macs that it just can be so overwhelming. It took me so much longer to understand Mac because I was so used to, or understand numbers because I was so used to Excel. And
Right.
it was just, I was like, no, I like Excel. I like Excel.
Yeah.
Okay, so how have the people you've worked with benefited from, having you be able to work on their CSVs and load them?
Well, I think one, the biggest thing is time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Bring them up to focus on, one, what they enjoy, and two, what they're better at, what they're more efficient at.
I like that. And I think it's important that people know when to delegate and when to ask somebody for help, because they will get so much more profit out of that 3 hours
Yeah.
than if they had done it themselves.
Yeah. And along with that, I think there is, until you're proficient at something, it's going to frustrate you.
Yes.
It's very frustrating. Again,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a musician, but for me, if I've ever to sit down at a piano and try
Mm-hmm.
to play the simplest song, it's going to be frustrating.
I'm like, no, thank you. I'm not
And
interested in this.
so what happens? You either, one, have to spend a significant amount of time getting proficient,
Mm-hmm.
or it takes a long time to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then third, you get frustrated, you dread it, and you put it off and you don't do it.
Yeah, and then you just keep putting it off. And then every time
Yeah.
you look at project broadcast, you get irritated because you're like, I still haven't loaded my contacts.
Right.
Which then doesn't allow you to automate your follow-ups, which then doesn't allow you to do more stuff. So being able to push the easy button and just
Right.
have somebody be like, hey, this is what I need this month. Can you get me that solid foundation until next month?
Yeah.
I think that's huge.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's talk value.
Okay.
Let's say, so what 3 tips would you give out to organizing your CSV before you import?
Okay, now this may not be, again, I'm speaking from what I've seen, and it may not be the same for everyone, but it appears that, like, a lot of times, because of that fear and frustration, or just like lack of enjoyment in the CSV Excel portion of it, it's kind of like, I'm just going to just download it and I'm going to upload it.
Oof.
And then you get all these, you have all these errors or issues,
Yeah.
of, this record could not be loaded.
Yeah.
And, it's always based on the phone number, or not always, but like the phone number,
Mhm.
you need to clean your phone numbers up in Excel, but don't try to do it in project broadcast where you would have to do it,
Yes.
manually, a record at a time. In Excel, you can do things can be batched. which
Perfect.
batched, if you
Yes.
don't know what that means, it means just grouped together. And like,
Yeah.
you may have 100, 1,000 records that can all be corrected, with one line of Excel code.
Right. Versus getting into Project Broadcast and, like you said, manually going through and trying to update stuff
Yeah.
and figure it out.
Right.
Yeah.
So, number one, fix fix those phone numbers,
Right.
the missing and the duplicate phone numbers, because
Perfect.
we automatically know those aren't going to load,
No.
so just the first thing I would do is find the duplicates. In Excel, you can format it to anything that's a duplicate. What I do is I highlight them red.
Perfect.
Highlight them red, sort them to where they're at the top. And then, sometimes it's obvious, like this phone number goes with this person,
Mhm.
but not with this person. And you can clear up some of those manually. Some of them you may not be able to, but
Yeah.
a big chunk of them you can. And then the other, along with the numbers, are Project Broadcast accepts 10-digit phone numbers.
Right.
So area code and the 7 digits. So often when you filter or sort those phone numbers, all the ones with a country code go to the top automatically.
Ah, yes.
So like for my phone number, area code 502, if it's 1502, it's not going to load. So all of a sudden I have all those country codes at the top, and all I have to do is clear, write something to clear out that one for those first however many records there are. All of a sudden they're, but if you send it to Project Broadcast, you're like, I wonder why that didn't work. Oh, it had a 1. So, whereas all of a sudden you have all your errors, all those type of errors in one spot together, you can see how many they are, and you can correct them all at once.
Yeah.
And they, so 1, fixing the phone numbers. 2, I would say the second tip is update regularly.
Yes, thank you. So many people will not update. They like do that one and they're like, I'm not doing this ever again. And they just stop. And I'm like, no, you can keep importing.
Right. And I think and it goes back to either the frustration or the idea that I'm going to spend so much time having to do this. And one of those two things will typically, prevent somebody from updating either, whatever it is, once a month or once a quarter, whatever your cycle should be.
Right.
There's this dread when that time comes around. It's like, oh, my records probably haven't changed that much. So I'll do it next month. I'm only going to miss 1 or 2 people.
And then like 3 months later, and it's just like a completely different contact list. And you're just going, I don't even recognize these people. I haven't even introduced myself to these people in Project Broadcast yet. It's been 3 months later, 3 months since they even purchased something. And like it kind of just stacks on top of each other.
Yep. Then my third tip would be nomenclature. How you name your tags.
Yes. Oh my God, Dawn would love this. Yes. Nomenclature. How you name your tags.
So
what do you recommend on tags? Like how would you name stuff?
Well, personally, I would include some type of date stamp.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes. I agree with you completely.
Now, and that, with that right there, that's kind of an infinite statement, because depending on, do you update daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, your date stamp would be adjusted. Like if you do it, it may be June of 23, might be a date stamp on there, or, you're, but I think what happens is so often people are just like, I'll just name it what comes to mind. And it's like
5 million tags later.
Yeah. my Arkansas group. Okay. Or my close friends.
Right. Arkansas
Or
group, Arkansas friends, Arkansas. I'm like, it just, and I get it. I get it. But I like that you brought up dates, and I like that you brought up nomenclature, because it does, and it makes things unorganized, and it makes things hard to read. And I want to know contacts of as of this date, new members as of this date, team as of this date, because one, it gives me an understanding of, if I had, 525 contacts this date,
yeah,
and then I just load it again and it's like 752, I'm going to be like, I might need to go check my Excel, but
yeah,
maybe I had a huge growth spurt. Like,
yeah.
I feel like it's super important, and I want to be able to compare the two. And maybe I want to do something with those people that were just added, and I want to be able to remove and do stuff with the tags and just jump into the weeds. So yeah,
I
I
think,
think that's so clutch.
example would be like, oh, I'm gonna do a healthy living challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So here's my healthy living challenge. 6 months down the road, it's time to do another healthy living challenge. What am I going to name this one? Healthy living challenge number 2
Version 2.
or B.
Like, oh
Just kind
no.
of okay. So when was healthy challenge A? When was healthy
Oh
challenge
no.
B?
And am I gonna ask the same people who attended the last one? And do I like there strategically, it just makes so much sense.
Yeah.
It really does. I can't even talk enough about that. All right,
Um,
so um if someone wants to get a hold of you and use the services that you provide, how best can they get a hold of you? Because I know you're in some of the Facebook groups and stuff like that, but not everybody's in those Facebook groups. So
well, yes, I can. Again, yes, by the Facebook groups
mhm.
or through my email.
Okay,
Um,
I'm gonna make
and
sure to include it in the edit stuff below. But if you want to just speak it out, and then that way nobody can blame me for misspelling.
right. So my name is Sonny Hydes, and that's my email. So all over, well, email, I guess it doesn't matter, but SonnyHydes@gmail.com.
Ah,
And my suggestion would be, no matter who you're with or what it's about, just make sure project broadcast is in the subject line.
oh, perfect. Oh no, I love that too, because that way
So,
it's specific to that.
right.
That makes a ton of sense.
You know.
Is there anything else you can think of that you wanted to bring up or talk about with what you do, with where you live in Excel, and how you're just kicking butt? I mean, I have already heard feedback from people that have used your service, and how
Okay.
liberating it
Good.
is for them.
Good.
So is there anything else you can think of that you want to share with everybody about your service, or about your ideas on Excel or anything like that?
Well, I mean, I guess a couple, if you wanted to try kind of go your own and figure it out, I would look at the formulas that are available in Excel. There are so many formulas and functions.
Mm.
If you want to do it, there's a shortcut to it.
Oh, that's such a good point.
So,
Find
but
the
even
shortcut.
that, because there are so many,
Mhm.
even finding them could be overwhelming. But if you are a person like me, you enjoy, I'm a researcher.
Yeah.
Before my job at the college, I was a cartographer and researcher. I made maps, but to make those maps, I spent months and months just going through countries' census data. And of course,
Wow.
all of that goes into Excel, and then that Excel document is the back end of the map.
Really?
Yeah.
I
So,
honestly had no clue about that. That's amazing. Woof.
so yeah, even prior to my college career,
Yeah.
had 20 years before that in
So you
Excel.
really do live, yeah, you really do live in Excel. Dang, Excel should be paying you just to talk about them.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate that you're in the groups and you're giving value and education, and that you're providing this service to people. I don't know who wouldn't want to pay for somebody to give them 3 hours back of their life. So I highly encourage anybody that's just like, this is where you're stuck and you need help. Or if you're a high ranking and you have like a lot of contacts, if you have more than 100 contacts and you are just struggling, you got to talk to Sonny, because don't let this be the barrier between you and having systems to follow up with customers and team members and prospects. I feel like this is such an easy hurdle to overcome when you have things like this available. So I think it's awesome, and I'm really thankful that you got out there and that your wife posted and was like, hey, I've got the secret source. And I'm like, let's go. And I immediately was like, I need to know who this person is.